So this is the fried liver, and it begins after the moves e4, e5, which is already very standard, knight f3, knight c6. Now, if black plays knight f6, you can't quite fried liver them. You can play a bit more standard, but knight c6, bishop c4. So far, so good, nothing special. Black now plays the move knight f6, just getting the second knight out, and now we get the picture on the thumbnail, knight g5. You cannot fried liver someone unless they play the move knight f6. If they play bishop c5, you might need to incorporate something else, because the point is that knight g5 is met with the queen. So knight on g5 is only possible if black develops the knight to f6, and you are now threatening the pawn on f7 with the knight and the bishop. This isn't some sort of genius trap. White isn't completely winning here, but there are a lot of things that black can do wrong, and first I will show you how black can lose immediately. So this attack can only be blocked if black pushes this pawn 2 squares to d5, okay? If this happens, you will take with the pawn like this. Now, the move that black can play here, which causes so much trouble, is the extremely natural recapture with the knight, which just seems blatantly logical, because if you take, I just take, and I'm fine. And I reopen the attack here. But here, white detonates an explosive knight f7, kaboom, hitting both the queen and the rook. This is a huge problem. Now, black takes, because if black doesn't take, you get huge material. And when you see this and this, you bring out the queen with check on f3. The queen attacks the king, and a double attack with the bishop on the knight. And now, the very first game I ever played in a chess tournament went like this. My opponent hit on g8, bishop takes knight, is a mate. I mean, black has one way to get out of it. They can sacrifice the queen, and then black has one more way to get out of it, and that's to bring the bishop. So officially, it'll take you 10 moves, but it's mate on the 8th move if king to g8 happens. Now, the best move after queen to f3 is not for this to happen. I mean, I wish I could end the video there, but I'm going to give you all of the secrets. Of course, if black moves the king anywhere, you just take the knight if it's free. If black blocks on f6, you can take like this, and that's a completely winning position. But if black plays the move king e6, this is the most challenging thing. This brings the king to defend the knight on d5. And now, rather than taking it, because that would result in a trade, you add pressure to this pin with the move knight c3. Now, 3 things attack this, and for example, in this position, if black plays like knight d4 attacking our queen, we will take with the bishop, check, move the queen out of the way, and get on with life by castling. But if black defends this knight with a move like knight b4, which is considered the main line, actually, this position has been reached, what I recommend for you to do here is to not get so worried about defending this pawn and just castle. And what this is doing is it's readying a rook to enter and join in on the attack. Black in this position cannot take, because the bishop needs to, the knight needs to maintain the guard of this knight from the bishop. So black will have to play c6. Nothing else. Literally, there is nothing else that black can do. Black has to overprotect, and now I really like the move pawn to d4, shattering the defenses in the center. If black takes this, black immediately loses. It looks like rook e1 is extremely strong. Actually, the best move here, I believe, is knight to e4. And what this move does is it just wins the g5 square, for both of your pieces with bishop on g5, and brings the rooks to the middle. Now, I can safely promise you that if you reach this position, you will win 90% of the time. Maybe I'll leave 10% for nonsense. It would, by the way, be a miracle if you already reached this position that black found everything. Black has one more move here, which is going back to e7, but this is too passive. You block out both of your pieces. Now even d4 right away is extremely strong. If pawn takes d4, there is knight takes d5. So you have this, and now queen e4 check. And now you're just guaranteed to win back this knight. If king here, check here, and bishop g5. Bye-bye, good night, au revoir, take care, you win. Congratulations. So the landmine of traps that can happen after knight takes f7, and frankly, after knight takes d5, is insanely high, right? the main line after d5, pawn takes d5, is the move knight a5, okay? Knight to a5 is considered like, even GMs are playing these positions. And now what's considered the main line for white is to give a check here with the bishop on b5. I can also recommend for you, if you don't want to study so much, the move pawn to d3, which the engine doesn't prefer as the main line here. But the point is that if you take so quickly, I mean, I just kind of get my pawns together. And black is considered totally fine here. The main line is to actually attack the knight. And now the knight cannot take because it's blocked. So something like this, push on e4. So if, of course, we take, we lose our bishop, like queen e2. And then something like this, where we've pinned the pawn to the king, it cannot castle, it cannot capture, but of course black can just castle on the next move and be completely fine. D3 is actually a pretty practical weapon if you're potentially like 15, 1400, 1300. Above that, people actually are studying this stuff, like in dense theory, and I said at the end I will show you all the dense theory and how to study it. So the main line here is to give this check on b5, black blocks with the pawn, sacrificing a pawn, and now white has a plethora of options, which I'm just going to show you as an introduction. The main, more trendy move is bishop back to d3. The other line is bishop back to e2. That's considered the massive main line. And there's also one tricky line, queen f3. And the point is that if c takes b5, you take on a8 and you win the rook. And okay, I mean, I'm not saying you are completely winning, but you know, black plays bishop b7, for example, you can take and win another rook. So look, 12 moves into the game, black doesn't have a queen and two rooks anymore. I mean, look, I don't know how much better I can give it to you, right? Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying, okay? If you're not happy with this +9 on move 12 or mate on move 8, look, I'm doing my best. Now, this is the main line and is considered so, and you're feel free to study it. But there are other things that black can do even if black makes it into this position. d5 is the only move, okay? According to mainline cutting-edge engine theory, one nasty counterattack is bishop c5. This is known as the Traxxler, and if you've made it this far in the video, 7 minutes is a lot of dedication. You should know that tomorrow I will launch a video which is going to be the sequel to this video, okay? And I'm going to do a full deep dive on the Traxxler. It is so poisonous. This very well could be the most dangerous counterattack in all of chess. The Traxxler's point is that if you lazily take on f7, forking the queen and the rook, there is bishop takes f2, dynamite check. And if you take again, there is knight takes check, and the queen is coming. What I recommend is to not get into any of this and simply take the pawn with the bishop. The opponent will move the king, and now you just slide back. And what's happened? You have a pawn up, they cannot castle, you'll calmly continue to threaten this, stabilize your king by castling, knight c3, d3, life is good. And you're fine if they try to go for this. Of course, I will show you in the section with the black pieces the nastiest things that we can do, as well if they play into the Traxxler. But that's basically the only thing. I mean, for example, some people, when they get hit with this, will go here. We just take on f7. We win the rook. And then we move on with life. I mean, what does that look like? d3, knight c3. If we can get out with the knight, that would be fantastic. But of course, there is something like this. And here, if you rush to simplify, you will lose the knight. I mean, that knight is a goner in many positions. But you, again, d3, knight c3, here, here, here. Again, you're up a ton of material. There is one tricky line, which is knight takes e4, trying to bait you into playing knight takes f7, and then there is queen h4. So generally, you will play knight takes here most of the time when this queen cannot get out. If the queen can get out and this bishop is out as well, it's better to just go check, force the king up, and here the winning move is d4. And it's d4 because if knight takes, you have bishop takes knight with a x-ray on the queen. And for example, if d4, pawn takes d4, you just bring back the bishop. And you attack the knight, which we know cannot take your knight. If knight f6, there is queen e2 check, king to d6, and now we fork the king and the queen.